WBZ security analyst Ed Davis is standing by for us in Tewksbury tonight. Ed, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time, giving us your expertise in a situation like this. You know, now that we are at this point in the investigation where they have this young man in custody, parents are being reunited with students, it occurs to me when police pull up to a structure like this, several huge buildings, thousands of students, what's the challenge in making sure that every building is inspected, every inch of it, to make sure that not only is it secure, but they can get to all those students to reunite them with their parents?
Well, you bring up a good point, Paula. That is a huge challenge to the first responding officers, and they really can't be concerned with the size of the building or trying to secure everything at once. They have one job, and it's to assemble a small team of armed men and women who can go to the sound of gunfire. That's the way we train our officers since Columbine, and that's the way those officers responded today, I'm certain. The first people will literally walk by victims and over victims, the first officers, to identify and to neutralize the threat, and that's their job. So further responding officers will be responsible for widening that net to try to catch the suspect, and in minutes, or maybe 20 minutes or a half hour or an hour afterwards, teams will go door by door, closet by closet, open up every potential place where someone could be hiding in that building, and make sure that there's either no suspect or no victim, or someone that could be hiding just because they're so frightened. That's all been taking place for the last few hours, and in a big place like that, it takes a long time.
Ed, the suspect has been identified as Nicholas Cruz, a former student. There had been some signs from other students, and we just heard from one of them that there were fears of something like this happening with this young man. What are investigators doing right now to try to determine a motive?
Well, they're doing a lot right now, but it's tragic that this scenario plays out over and over again. When a situation like this happens, everyone says, oh, it's that guy, we were afraid of that guy. We've dealt with that guy before, we didn't know how to handle that guy. This is the same kind of thing that's happening over the combination of mental health and guns that can be so deadly. But what the police are doing right now is exploiting all of his digital media. They are looking at his posts, they're looking at his mobile phones, at his portable devices and computers. They're checking his friends. They're talking to his relatives to see what's been happening in the days and months leading up to this event, to try to put it in perspective. They want a motive here. They want to try to understand this so that they can prevent things in the further and effectively prosecute this guy.
Yeah. I'm curious, Ed, in terms of someone with your level of training. Cheryl Fiandaca was going through a rundown of what we know about this young man so far. One of the things that has come to light is he fired the gun from both outside and inside the school building. Does that tell you anything?
Well, he arrived there around dismissal time. So, to me, what that tells me is he had a plan. He wanted to get a large number of victims in an open space so that he could inflict as much damage as he possibly could. He probably started shooting as he walked into the school, if these reports are right. And then once he got inside, people can't escape very well. So he had a large number of targets that he could you know, shoot and hurt. And that's what these guys are trying to do when they go into a situation like this. It's remarkable in this one that he surrendered. Normally that doesn't happen. This guy is going to go to trial. We might learn more about this in trial. Some of this videotape that we're seeing, the mobile phone digital video is really, really telling as to what these situations are like. And I hope people see that and something happens as a result of this.
Well, so many parents, in fact, here are watching this tonight, shocked and scared for their own kids, for their own schools. What advice would you give to young people who tomorrow here in Massachusetts are going to go to school and have this in the back of their minds?
Schools and businesses in Massachusetts need to teach the run, hide, fight curriculum that DHS has recommended for these situations. And many years ago, the big threat was fire, and we had fire alarms and fire practices. Now people have to understand that if this happens, they need to run from the sound of gunfire, they need to hide if they can, and in the last resort, they need to fight if that's the only thing left, the only option left for them, and it may save their lives. We need to be prepared. We need to think about what would happen if a shooter came in the front door of our business, of the mall, of the restaurant that we're in. If we think about those things, we can literally save our lives and the lives of our families.
Ed Davis, WBZ security analyst, we appreciate you taking the time. Thanks very much. And we'll be back with Ed later on throughout our broadcast this evening.